Hello and welcome back to the Blackford Book Club for episode 20, but more importantly, it's part 6 from my fourth self-published book, The Spirit of Cricket. And on page 72 you will find chapter 12, entitled Who Says Test Match Cricket is Boring? Aussies Win in a Thriller. Tuesday, the 20th of June 2023. After waxing lyrical in yesterday's diary entry on the majestic bowling skills of Australian captain Pat Cummins, I had a hunch he'd feature heavily today, but not to match-winning excess and an unbeaten 55-run partnership with his off-spin bowler Nathan Lyon. Thrust together at 227 for 8 as this test match took yet another turn as the balance of probable victor swung back in favour of the host England, Cummins had a cricketing life when on just 7, Joe Root dropped an incredibly difficult caught and bowled chance. However, straight after the final break for drinks in the entire match, he then set about a quick chasing down of the remaining 50 runs for victory. Boundary 6s and 4s kicked Joe Root from England's threadbare bowling attack, and suddenly 51 to win became 37 in the blink of an eye. With Lyon chipping in with an invaluable 16 not out, his captain continued to whittle down the required runs to 30, to 20, and then into single figures, and remarkably, after near on 5 days and 2 elongated breaks for adverse weather, all 4 cricketing results were still possible. Cummins' guided dab to the boundary was scrambled and fumbled over the rope for the match-winning 4 runs needed, and the Australian wheeled away in delight at his team's unbelievable achievement, ripping away his batting helmet and throwing his bat high into the air before grabbing his loyal off-spinning mate and hoisting him high to an Edgbaston sky. Perceived wisdom has it that England had largely dominated this test match and are judged to be in a winning position throughout the 4 days prior, but that's as incorrect as continually harping on about the wisdom of declaring their first innings. These very same people were excitedly saying throughout yesterday that England captain Ben Stokes could, should, or even might declare his team's second innings too, but thus is the fickle fate of having an opinion, and such opinions are often shaped by the tension and emotion of the moment. This incredible test match has shifted constantly with the sands of time, and every team has seeming controlling destiny of the match. Their opposition has retorted with a gutsy innings. See Usman Khawaja yet again today, and especially his captain Pat Cummins, or the never-say-die spirit in the bowling exploits of Stuart Broad or his captain Ben Stokes. I've had Australia slightly ahead of the game since the end of day 2, and even in spite of their overnight position last evening and still needing 174 runs to win with only 7 wickets remaining. However, in line with the match as a whole, I still had the Aussies as favourites at the tea break, even after the loss of the priceless wicket of Travis Head and still needing 98 runs to win with now only 5 wickets remaining. Then came the twist in favour of England as Stokes finally dismissed Usman Khawaja, who's batted every day, before Joe Root brilliantly snaffled a bullet of a return catch from Alex Carey. With 54 runs still needed and only Nathan Lyon and Josh Hazlewood to support him, the Aussie skipper wrestled back control of the match straight after the drinks break, and the countdown to ultimate victory had begun, and a victory that could prove incredibly vital come 6 weeks' time and the end of an Ashes series that was already bubbling with astounding sporting drama. Usman Khawaja was named man of the match, and rightly so, but his captain pushed him hard to this individual accolade. Pat Cummins' 4 wickets for 63 runs in England's second innings was high class from the #1 rated bowler in the world, and quite frankly, and indeed quite rightly, his 44 not out this evening will be remembered forevermore, as well as his hoisting of Nathan Lyon high in the air, an Ashes image for the ages. Immediately post-match, Cummins heaped praise on his team as a whole, Usman Khawaja in particular, and called Nathan Lyon both a superstar and a captain's dream, and the magnificent team he leads looks a well-oiled and well-drilled outfit that will take a precious 1-0 series advantage to Lords in 8 days' time. So what of those English cricketing revolutionaries and their captain Ben Stokes? Post-match, he was reasoned and magnanimous in defeat in a match that will never be forgotten and which epitomised the style of play he wants his team to play and the sport he holds so dear to his heart. Rightly, he defended his decision to declare at the end of day 1 it was an opportunity to pounce on Australia, as well as being honest enough to praise both a victorious Australia who stuck in throughout the match and his players who gave their all, only to come up agonisingly short. The cold, hard and ugly truths that England had a somewhat threadbare bowling attack at times, and without the variation in pace and hostility from Markwood, they were always going to struggle to bowl out Australia twice to force a win. Jimmy Anderson, may the cricketing gods bless him, looks undercooked after recovering from a niggling injury, and Moeen Ali's injured spinning finger largely negated any influence he could have despite heeding the 11th hour call to replace the unfortunate Jack Leach. Joe Root bowled brilliantly in an emergency role once more, and Stuart Broad has bowled himself to utter exhaustion according to his captain post-match. England, and arguably both teams, were always going to have to rotate their bowling attacks, but the hosts would appear to have to do so in 8 days' time, as Broad can't play every match, Anderson has admitted he's out of rhythm after returning from injury, and one can only assume that Moeen Ali, a replacement himself, will have to be replaced come the Lord's Test match. It's advantage Australia, but this Ashes series is already living up to the hype and expectation we cricket fans have excitedly heaped upon this fiercest of sporting tussles. The revolution underway within English cricket and the sport as a whole has not been lost today, and neither has the Ashes. The clash of styles returns in earnest in 8 days' time, and I for one cannot wait. Postscript. The Uno Ashes. Dad 5, Lad 4. Much to the grumpy consternation of my son, he'd make a wonderful Captain Grumpy of a cricket team. I won the first session in today's tussle by 4 games to 1 before he rallied, taking a tense game 6 after we were both tied at 95 points each and 5 points short of a victory to reduce today's scoreline to 4-2, then 4-3, before we shared 2 final games during the nerve-shredding final moments of the day's play in the cricket. He now holds a 4-game aggregate lead over the series as a whole, and I, like England, will be gunning for my opposition come 8 days' time. Vive la Revolution! As you can see from the cover, my son and I played a lot of Uno during this summer, and I hope I haven't broken a trademark by saying that, and we had a great deal of fun, and we had an aggregate that ran all the way through, and I won't spoil the enjoyment for you, but it allowed me to watch lots of cricket, and it allowed me to watch a Captain Grumpy get beaten occasionally at cards, but more often than not he cheated, and he continually beat me all the way through to the end. But no spoilers, I'll leave you with peace and solidarity. And I sincerely thank you for watching. I didn't end that very well, did I? That was a terrible end.